So as I was looking at this, I said, is there a different way that we can approach the understanding of Ayurveda and Siddha using stuff that are irrefutable in the modern world? So you're going to learn about, there's 3 words here. Some of you may have heard about this. It's called control systems engineering. Now, control systems engineering principles are the foundations of pretty much everything, every technology, the iPhone, the thermostat, aircraft, anything that has been developed in the last 60 years is based on these principles. So as I take you through this, I want to make this discussion somewhat friendly so it doesn't get too technical. So I'm going to take you on a personal journey, which will show you where I've come from these worlds of East and West. And in that journey, I'm going to share with you Ayurveda and control systems theory. So I grew up in Bombay, India. But in India, I grew up in 2 worlds, in this very intense city. But I also grew up in a very rural place, a village in India. And my grandmother was actually a village farmer. She worked 16-hour days in the fields. There's actually a picture of a very intense-looking woman. But she was a trained shaman and a Siddha. She could look at your face, observe lines and characteristics of your face, and she could predict different aspects of body dysfunction. And then she gave you, as we talked about, I think, in the earlier discussion, personalized medicine. So Siddha and Ayurveda were fundamentally personalized medicine in the sense that not everyone got the same treatment. So when I came to the United States, and by the way, this is one of these Siddha yogis, and just to step back a little bit, if you can hold on, I'm going to walk you through the terminology or the lingua franca of Siddha and Ayurveda. So if you took, I know, Deepak, you do a course in the Chopra Center where you can actually take an intensive in Ayurveda, but you're going to learn it in the next 1 minute. At least you'll learn the words. So in the Ayurveda and Siddha system, there is this concept of unmanifest energy, which means before anything got created, there was a void, which is called Purusha. Purusha gave rise to another concept called Prakriti, which is all the gross, manifest things that you see around us. And that was essentially translated into 3 forms, the gunas, which were sattva, rajas, and tamas. By the way, don't worry about understanding the concepts. I just want you to get a feel of that there's this whole terminology. That energies gave rise to what are called the 5 elements, panchabhutas, which are, some of you may know, fire, water, earth, metal, etc. And those matter gave rise in the Indian system to a combination of those material forms, which gave rise to what is known as vata, to describe a certain aspect of your body. The best way to think about vata is this. You know, it's a dancer moving through the air. It really represents motion. Okay? Another aspect of these tridoshas was pitta. And that is best looked at the aspects of transformation or conversion that you can think about, in this case, molten or iron being converted to molten iron. And the last aspect of the tridoshas was this thing called kapha, which is best exemplified in structure or storage, in this case of the skeleton. So those are the terminologies of Ayurveda, and the tridoshas gave rise to what are called the dhatus, or the tissues, and they manifest in different forms, which gave rise to the whole body. Okay? So if you took an Ayurveda course, this is sort of the summary of the Ayurveda or Siddha pantheon. If you looked at these words, it's probably very, very hard to understand what these mean, and if a Westerner looked at it, it's even harder for them to give any scientific credence to it. So let me switch gears a little bit.